All right, guys. So I degreed the camshaft today, and degreeing a camshaft is always like a religious experience for me because nothing ever goes as planned. What you just saw me install there was the button for the end of the camshaft bolt for our end play. Either way, it's always a debacle. You always struggle. You know, some of these cams have like asymmetrical lobes, so sometimes it's a little hard. Um, well, at least that's what I've read. And I've struggled with certain cams, like my Lunati Voodoo cam. I struggled to get the numbers like where they needed to be. With this particular camshaft, I know it had been degreed before, so I know that the opening and closing sequences are good. And I was pretty much lazy, and I just went and did the intake centerline method. So essentially, you check if you can picture the lobe. You want to split the very top of the lobe, so that the tiny taper, that's your lift point, not the heel. You want to split the toe of the cam lobe in half, and that's your intake center line. So what you do is you take you got your dial indicator in there, and you rotate the engine until you see no more movement at the top on lift. And then you zero out your dial indicator, and you have to split it. If you go too far, you might get an inaccurate reading. So you really got to get a feel for it. And so once you get that perfect spot where you think you're dead in the middle on the top of the lobe, you zero out your dial indicator. You go back 100 thou on the dial indicator. Then you go up 50, and that's your first number, right? And it'll come up here on the degree wheel, and you write it down. And then you go ahead and you rotate the engine again past that point where it was 50 thou under max lift, and that's your closing for the center line. So you want to check it at 50 thou right before, 50 thou right after max lift. That's your intake center line. And the number that you record on the drop at 50 thou, you add it up, and depending on if it's a low or a high number, you usually either just add it or divide it by 2, and you get your intake center line, which I got 110. I got a 110 intake center line. This camshaft straight up should have came in at 106, so that means that our chain has 4 degrees of stretch in it, which a good friend of mine, who's a great engine builder, told me, just install it advanced, because by the time it stretches, it'll land where you need it to go. So, a couple of degrees advance will kill a little bit of top end, but it's within RPM range. But again, it's also based off how the build was. I did put this 4 degrees advance, and it was way too advanced. Like our intake center line was 102. So 102 with this chain advanced, and then 110. So we're going 4 degrees. We added 4 degrees to our 4 degrees, which makes sense. And then we added, we added 4 degrees when it was straight up. So that means that 4 to 6 is 10. And then we advanced at 4, and then we got another 4. So we technically advanced at 8. If I remembered the explanation right, and I hope it makes sense. Again, I called my buddy. I didn't call him, actually. We were messaging back and forth while I was out here. JJ, which that's his camshaft, so who better to know it than him? And we kind of went back and forth, and, we kind of expressed some thoughts about, it's advanced, but actually it's on a 110. This camshaft, if you install it straight up, will be 106. So I think when you install them straight up, they're accounting for chain stretch. Maybe, maybe not. What's your thoughts? So either way, we're good. It's on a 110 ICL, installed at 106. The cam card says it would be 4 degrees advance, and that would be dot to dot. And I went ahead and I put, what's up, Finnegan? Say hi. I put a rocker arm on there and checked our pattern. It's not the best, but it's also not the worst, and we're just going to run it. It's not, the sweep is at least staying in the center, so it should be a little thinner than that, but we're good. Considering I didn't have to buy push rods, JJ just gave these to me to use for now. Oops, sorry, boy, I stepped on my dog's paw. You know, from there, we're pretty good. So we don't have to spend money there. And from here, I'm going to take the push rods, the lifters, the rock arms, dunk them all in a little bucket with kerosene, wash everything out, clean everything up, and then once everything is clean, blow it out and dunk them in a little tank of oil to get everything kind of pre-lubed. And then from there, it's final assembly, which means we're going to put our oil pan on, which I have to take into work tomorrow and weld up. And then I have to go ahead and put the intake on, which I also have to clean up a little bit and try. And then, so hopefully Friday night, we're going to be able to do our final assembly and get this thing on the engine run stand on Saturday. So that is the goal here. Hopefully that works out. I don't know where I'm going to do the running stand, if I'm going to do it at the shop or here, but I got to get it over there. So either way, hopefully you guys have enjoyed following along and stick around because this will go in a car. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you guys know that I posted what car this is going to go into. And we're going to see what we can do with this particular combination. It does have the one Achilles heel item that is treaded, but we're not going to worry about that until we put numbers on the board. So I kind of mentioned it before, but whatever. We'll keep it a secret since nobody really cared too much about it. So either way, I'll let you guys go. Share, like, subscribe. Again, I just want to remind everybody who's followed along, like, this is the most precise way, I guess, you can build like a home style build. You know, you're limited to what you can do, what you got, and what you can make do with. Obviously, if something was really off, then yeah, we'd have to buy a timing chain, or yeah, we'd have to buy new push rods. But everything was pretty close. And again, that was buying parts that we knew, talking with friends, blah, 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 yada, 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 all that stuff. So I really want to drive that point home that this, I'm not trying to sell this as a perfect build. This is how I've built a lot of stuff and it's worked out, but I do my due diligence. I measure stuff out. I clean stuff out. I'm not just slapping trash together. I'm just kind of putting good used parts back in use. So hope you guys are enjoying it so far. Again, share, like, subscribe, and thanks for the inspiring likes and comments. I like it. So we'll see you guys around.